So we do have quorum, so why don't we get started, call the meeting to order, and then folks can join as they come on. Light schedule tonight, but hopefully important opportunity in case there are questions. So call to order the CPC meeting here April 10th, 2025. Present today we have Jim Lee, Amanda Varela, Dennis Sheedy, Ed Hands, Meredith Keach, and Tom Broussard for quorum. The first item for tonight we have is welcoming a new member who's not here, but at least everybody will know that Al Benson did he leave Concom or just rotate off CPC?
He has left Concom, according to an
Gotcha.
email he sent to their chair. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so Philip, is it Vesio?
I think it's Vescio. Yeah. Oh, he's here now.
He's coming.
Great.
Excellent.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
No worries, Philip. Is it Philip or Phil?
Either is fine.
Perfect. Well, Phil, welcome to the team. We were just literally announcing to the team that Al had left Concom, and we are very appreciative and happy that you are on Concom and joined to step up and join the CPC. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and for those of us that might not know you?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm very happy to be a part of this and happy to help fill in the position. So I am a Easton resident of going on 8 years now, originally from Syracuse, New York, but went to school out in Rochester, New York, and then Southern New Hampshire University. And my lovely wife and I have settled down in Easton. Again, great, beautiful town. We love being here. I currently work over at, I'm a construction project manager for a construction management firm over in Foxborough. And yeah, just been on the Easton Conservation Commission for almost a year now, and just really happy to be a part of the town and be involved so much with Easton.
That's great to have you. It really is. You have a pretty impressive collection of people on the call aside from myself. I'll go first. Chair of the CPC, Tom Broussard, been here since 2007. I should know that faster, I think. So a couple of weeks, 2 kids going through the school system now, 2 girls. Prior to this, have been on the select board, the finance committee, and the PACE committee. Candidly, while that sounds all good, there are so many people on this call that have done so much more. So I'll give them a few minutes to introduce themselves. I'll just go around in order. Jim, you want to go next?
Jim Lee. I think I've been in Easton 27 years now. I joined Stonehill College from Montana State University, where I'd been for 24 years, and was volunteered or railroaded, I guess is the appropriate term, onto the CPC by a couple members I won't mention, and chaired it actually after the first meeting I joined, which was interesting. Talk about railroad, right? And stayed in that position for a decade or so. Anyway, now I'm retired, have been retired for 7 years, and do as little as possible, but I do it well.
That's awesome. Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda Varela. I am the vice chair. I am one of the community members, so I'm not on any other boards. I've been in Easton for 27 years, and I have a senior in college and a senior in high school.
Mr. Sheedy?
Hello, I'm Dennis Sheedy. I'm the Housing Authority representative. I've been on this board since 2007, so
Wow.
about 18 years I'm approaching. Mr. Hands is the only one who got me beat, but if we want to get into continuous records, he took a hiatus. I haven't. So.
Nice.
So welcome
Right.
aboard. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ed?
As Dennis points out, I was one of the original members of the CPC as the Historical Commission representative, and then I did take a hiatus of, what was it, Dennis, 2 years, I guess? And then I've been back on ever since as a citizen representative. I've been in town 66 years, so that means I'm still a carpetbagger. And I used to teach at the high school, and now I'm retired. I'm on the Historical Commission and the Agricultural Commission.
Just
And
all
Meredith?
very impressive.
Hi, I'm Meredith Keach, and I have my video off because I'm driving my children from their activities, and that's why I was a little bit late, so I apologize. I am a townie, and if I was older than Ed, which I'm not, I would say to him, "I remember when you moved to town," but he's a little bit older than me. Nevertheless, I am the recreation representative here on this board, and I also serve on the lacrosse board. So thanks for joining.
And have you had a chance, Phil, to work with Stephanie and Wayne previously?
I believe so. It's Stephanie. We definitely have had her on some of the conservation commissions, but Wayne, I don't believe I've had the full pleasure. And
Me too.
thank you for the call. I appreciate that as the reminder.
Me too.
No worries.
So Wayne and Stephanie make it all happen. Phil, from the town side, we couldn't get this done without them. They're incredibly helpful. Kathy as well joins, takes all the minutes, makes that possible, something I'm terrible at. It really is great to have you. We appreciate you. We use everybody's input to try to come to the best conclusions. And I think we at CPC are very appreciative of the opportunity to make such a big impact that we have in the town with some pretty material projects. And thankfully, they're oriented towards three very specific things, as I'm sure you know. But by definition, they have to satisfy the CPA, the Community Preservation Act, as the state sets forth, focused on affordable housing, open space and rec, and historical preservation. And Easton just, that hits the sweet spot of Easton's values. I wouldn't quite call it a torpedo bat-esque of the Major League Baseball that's going on now. But we seem to play a pretty big role in the community, which is honestly a treat to be able to participate. Tonight is a really easy meeting in the sense of no heavy lifting for very valid reasons, team. I think, as we know, we're waiting to see where town meeting goes in terms of operational override, expense structure, and any learnings that come out of it. There's been a lot of discussion about focusing on new growth and how much land is protected, how it's protected, why it's protected. So I would imagine as we navigate these final 6 weeks or 5 weeks before we get to town meeting, it will get pretty crazy, as the roller coaster ride usually does at this point in time, with a lot of feedback, a lot of social media, a lot of engagement, a lot of information, a lot of misinformation, and everything in between. So, Phil, we just, as a committee, just didn't think it was appropriate for us to be putting forth projects that we normally deal with during a period of time where residents will most likely use that meeting to discuss operational impacts, staffing levels, programs, and service cuts, or preservation, so on and so forth. So with that, our meeting tonight first is I'll take a motion to accept the minutes dated February 13th, 2025.
So
Moved.
Second.
Nice. I'll go with Sheedy and Hands on the second. Going around in order: Jim Lee,
Aye.
Amanda Varela,
Aye.
Dennis Sheedy,
Aye.
Ed Hands,
Aye.
Phil.
Aye.
And Phil, is it Vescio?
Vescio. It's almost like there should be an H in there.
Perfect. Got it. Appreciate that. And Meredith Keach?
Aye.
Tom Broussard is an aye. So that was really the only vote that we had tonight. The other major reason to get everybody together is just to give you a pace update and certainly to be a resource for you if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to 5-hour marathon meetings, which are riveting. and value added. Some say it's actually better than listening to Matthew McConaughey as you try to go to sleep with the Calm app, but I can't verify that. But look, we at PACE finished our charge technically. So we presented a final recommendation to the select board. The select board received it. They actually adopted it. It is for an operational override of 7.3 million. It's for I guess we'll call it a challenge definition of 8.1 million, which implies expense reductions of close to $800,000. I'll give just a little bit of background in case anybody wants to hear it, but stop me again if you've been through this. The largest impacts over the last 2 years have been centered about $3.6 million of fixed cost increases related to healthcare, taxes, so on and so forth, benefits, pension, that really have nothing to do with how we're running the town. The benefits, people say, oh, can you switch? And every year we try to, just so that you guys have that as knowledge. But you need a market to do that. And candidly, there usually isn't a market for us. People and insurers don't want to bid on our work, which was a primary reason of why we joined the GIC several years ago. And just so that, we have done the math and we are still well ahead by joining the GIC over all of these years. It's just that the last 2 years, fundamentally, all costs are going up. And we have experienced, I think it was 10% in change last year. And I think this year came back even worse than thought at over 12% increase. And those are 7-figure impacts. So that's 3.6 million of the challenge. I think we know we're rolling off a material amount of COVID-related funding for ARPA, ESSA funds. That was about another 2 million. And then if you think of having a $100 million operating budget, that just fundamentally increases at 2 or 3%. That gives you another 2 or 3 million. So those are very, very rough calculations to help you understand and frame the size of the problem. And from a key driver, it's something that's not uncommon. But the way I sum it up is Easton has, in many ways, exactly what it has wanted. It has a desirable community that appreciates open space, recreation, historical preservation, larger lots. In essence, we're a residential forward, single family community. And in times like this, where you're governed, that drives 72% of our overall revenue, is governed by Prop 2.5, which is, again, overwhelmingly single family units. Then when you're in an inflationary period like we're in now, literally your revenue stream can't adjust. A lot of people will say, well, then how does the state do it? People have to remember that the state gets a material amount of its revenue from sales tax. So in an inflationary environment, sales tax actually gives you more revenue. So the state might not be doing as bad as the cities and towns are. We are definitely not alone. Please don't feel that way. And any community that's residential forward is feeling the brunt of this. Our taxpayers do pay a high tax. They have the second highest dollar tax bill out of all of our surrounding communities at just over $8,600. However, I think those of us that can understand the math, we also have the second highest home value. So our rate is not that high, but as we all know, Prop 2.5 causes rate and home values to fluctuate inversely so that you only get to a certain dollar increase. So it's a difficult place to be. The new growth for last year, as I think I mentioned before, set records. It was $1.5 million of new growth. It's normally averaging $700,000 to $800,000 over the last 5 to 10 years. And it's just a tough spot to be. So PACE is just trying to do a good job at identifying what the real challenge is, which is revenue. And to support the entire process, PACE has also come up with a community compact. I'm just going to try to open up a presentation real quick. But the community compact, in short, is if we pass an override, then with it would come a compact or agreement with the community that basically commits to certain parameters, like not having operating budgets that increase on a 2-year basis more than 4% for the schools or the town. So, that means they can't just grow the business or grow their business to deal with that. Bear with me. I'm just going to open up the PowerPoint. I should have done this before for the community compact. But while I'm searching, I'll pause. Any questions? Have you guys been following? It's okay to admit that you watch every show with popcorn and can't wait for the new ones to come out. I get it. But I'd love to hear what you folks are experiencing, or if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those too. Love it. Clearly, Pace's information and communication has been exemplary. All questions have been answered. The community compact, no debt exclusion for 5 years, no operational override for at least 4 years. I'm just going to share my screen real quick. We've obviously tried to make sure that if there are states of emergency or something happens that is beyond our control, state mandates that are not accounted for in the current modeling, we want to make sure that the town can still run. So we have that in there. We do want to enhance the Economic Development Council. We want to focus on pro-growth policies and practices to try to help support new growth to the degree that it can help offset some of the revenue challenges that we face. We want to make sure that we continue to try to minimize the impact on seniors, veterans, individuals, disabilities, clearly those on fixed incomes, but educational efforts to continue in the continued expansion of financial relief programs. Annual budget caps, as I talked about, 4% growth, with exceptions for mandated services. We also want to be thoughtful to protect free cash reserves. What we can't do is just draw down free cash. Like, we're about to use close to $3 million, $3.5 million, I believe, between stabilization and free cash. That would basically take the stabilization down more than a third. So, clearly utilizing those funds as presented this year, it really just kicks the can to next year. And as everybody knows, 85 cents of every dollar of our overall spend is people. So what it really just means is, although this year there have been close to 50 to 60 cuts identified between the schools, which are at 44 reductions, and the town, which has reductions to fire, police, and DPW, that there would be that many more next year. So the problem doesn't go away, given what drives our fundamental revenue challenge. I know I glossed over it, but Phil, I don't know how close you've been, but we have the second lowest revenue amongst all of the towns per resident, which equates to us having the second lowest spend amongst all of our surrounding towns and comparable communities. So this isn't a problem of we have far too many people, or we waste our money, or we aren't efficient. We've just done far more with less for a material amount of time. And that's across every department. That's schools, town, every way you look at it against any comparable group. We spend less and we bring in less revenue as well, just as a function of who we are. And that's what makes Easton highly desirable too. So I'm not being critical, and I'm not saying it's bad to spend less, but at some point it starts to, as we all say, the adage, cut bone. The town has already looked at health insurance and OPEB, other post-employment benefit issues. We have, as a town, already cut back on the amount of spend for those pensioners that are in our system. So they will be contributing more to help defray some of the costs. And obviously, we just want to make sure we have capital asset funding that's necessary. We maintain good financial standing so that our bond rating isn't hurt, so on and so forth. And then, there's a measurement and accountability section, which just says each year the town and school departments will be including in their budget proposal a narrative outlining and explaining how the proposed budget advances, meets, or falls short of the goals of the compact. So there's a full community pledge with a lot of detail. Definitely encourage you to read it and take it from there. But other than that, again, I have information I can share with you if you want it. But as you can see, just some other examples. For the 9 years, roughly FY14 to 23, 287 overrides were sought statewide. And then in the last 2 years alone, there's been 108. So that's not going to change as communities continue to bear the burden. The other thing that materially impacts Easton is that for many, many, many years, probably double digits, the Easton educational component has been severely underfunded from a state perspective. So there are two specific components that negatively impact us. One is reimbursement for salaries and funding of teachers. And basically, we fall one town away from a classification that would get us millions of dollars more each year to enable us to be competitive in teacher salaries. The other thing is we are a minimum aid community, which means we get $30 per student each year increase. And just for context, that $30 is a $100,000 increase each year, or a 0.2% increase on the school budget, which is nothing, candidly. So even when people say, if it was $100, what will that be? Candidly, it will be so far below the average inflation rate of even just 3%, which is normal, let alone the 4, 5, 6s, and 7s we've been experiencing, that it's laughable. And the school funding formula is now situated that all of the major growth, billions of dollars, went to roughly 36 cities and towns, mostly cities like Boston, New Bedford, Fall River, and the remainder of the 351 towns and cities in Massachusetts are now falling into or very close to minimum aid. And now they too, after us clamoring for years, they too have now joined on. And we're hopeful in the years to come there will be a recalibration of the school funding formula. The reason why it's important, schools are 65% of our spend. So it is truth to state that the state is telling you go fix it yourself, and has been telling Easton to go fix it yourself for many years. And it's just very difficult on a bedroom community to solve for that. Pace, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't think I have too much more that I haven't shared with you folks. So, again, state aid used to be 25 cents of every dollar. It's 13 cents of every dollar now. And unrestricted general government aid to this day is still below the dollar levels we used to get in 2008. So there's a lot of things coming together to create a perfect storm of reality. As I mentioned, it is firm. There's close to 54 to 60 positions identified to be cut, 44 reduced in the schools. I think it was 20 cuts and 24 took early retirement, which was a cost for this year, an increased cost. But I think we all know the benefits of offering early retirement programs to motivate and incentivize certain people to leave now and retire now. So I'll stop there. I have given this presentation 5 gazillion times, so I know it all. But do you guys have any questions, or can I help with anything, or observations or thoughts? Amanda?
I am curious about whether we have any data on how much of our CPA spend we are supplementing basically what would otherwise be capital expenditures of the town.
Great question.
About
Wayne?
12.1 million have gone to town capital projects. I think 5 point something. I just updated the CP webpage and put it in the annual report. So I think the schools got over 5 million in the last several years, I believe. And for town projects, it's mostly schools, but also like the town hall and stuff. I think it's 12.
And what's that of as a total? So it's
I think our
12.6.
total is like what, 30 something, 36. So
about
these are not
1/3.
numbers I want to be authoritative about at this point, but over a third, I believe, have gone to town capital projects, schools and so forth, I think. But I'm not sure if the town.
And I would argue, Amanda, I think some folks might include the fields that we've supported, not the school fields, but open space, rec fields, Keach Field, as a pretty material benefit to the enjoyment of many in the community as well.
That would be handy to have in our back pocket.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hasn't been too much clamoring regarding the CPC, just in terms of my travels. I would say that most people have really aggressively supported the CPC and appreciate why this separate allocation of funds, not only does it bring, on average lately 20 cents of benefit from the state match. Historically, it's been 50 cents per match. But to the point that I think we all appreciate and a community appreciates, it would be very difficult to get these projects passed ahead of safety and security projects, for example, that are going on at the school right now. And the fact that we have been using our free cash to actually supplement our operating budget each year, which is not the best practice. And instead of using that for capital projects, you can see the double whammy that a operating revenue challenge provides, which I think is why CPC has to play an even more important role in the new town environment to come, regardless of which way the vote goes in May. All right. No more questions, thoughts, observations? Appreciate it. Ed, if you're interested, sorry, Dennis, go ahead.
What's the feeling, Tom? Do you think, are things gonna go in favor of an override or too close to call?
To be honest, Dennis, there's a lot of good in the community. There's a lot of engagement, and there's a PAC that started a political action committee called Save Our Schools. And I think those are all good things. And we get emails every day saying we have to do this. We're in on this. I will say, though, that there is a material disconnect in several examples about engagement for an override. And that's concerning. It's highly concerning. I'll give you a comparison. The Bridgewater Raynham Teachers Union has been on street blocks clamoring and advocating for an override. And we have not seen that yet in Easton. And that's disconcerting. Certainly that has been prompted. I shared the Boston Globe articles about that situation. But the fact that we have not seen that engagement, and instead the rhetoric continues to be about the fact that the school staff reduction has been 44 people, and there's no mention of we can solve this with an override and we ask for your support. So I think we have to hopefully see that change, candidly, because I think if you don't have a strong pull from the grassroots teachers, and you don't have support, then that might send a message to people that they're okay with the reductions. And that's tough. That's a mixed message at a time when a lot of committees and boards have acknowledged the revenue challenge we have. And we're trying to share information so that people can arrive and at least say, I'm voting no because, example, I fundamentally can't afford it. And I understand the challenges we face. I love Easton and what makes us who we are and unique. But regrettably, I'm in a spot, right? We all know because the cost of this with the debt override for the public safety buildings, it's material. I'm a little nervous about the amount of people who are just, as always in this world, just making opinion statements and saying, no, they caused this, let them make this. That's frustrating, candidly, for somebody who's invested 9 months and thousands of hours of kind of learning the problem and what it is. At the last school committee meeting, literally somebody got up and said, the town side caused this problem, they should fix it, and all the cuts should be there, inferring that, right? Like, that's just not true. I mean that sincerely. I will show anybody any information, but our general government is 48% less expense per person than any other general government. Every one of our departments is less than our state average, our comparable communities. We have less bodies in the police department per resident, fire department per resident, DPW. So to hear some of that, Dennis, is concerning, but we've got a month to get that out there. And there is going to be another open house on May 7th. I would really appreciate it if you all could come and bring 10 to 15 friends, or even people you don't like. That's okay. If you don't have 10, 15 friends, you can bring enemies. That's okay. Because again, there was a statement at the last school committee that said, because you did not cut one of the administrators, I can't support an override, thereby saying it's okay that 44 other teachers' positions, including from central admin, are cut, which that doesn't make sense to me. I think what we have to weed through as a community is that on any $120 million budget, I will find something I don't like about what you did, Dennis, and you will find something that you don't like about what I did, because there's hundreds of employees in different positions. And, there are people that are like, I don't care about the town pool. And then there are people that are like, oh my God, the town pool. And I think when you start getting into the very specific minutia, everybody finds a reason to disagree, as opposed to it's easier to tear down, is the adage, than it is to build up. And I'm concerned about that, Dennis, to be honest.
I like the town pool.
There you go, right? See? So it's hard, it's emotional, I get it. And a lot of times people will be judgmental first. Like, you guys probably have heard me say this. They'll be very judgmental. They'll be very, you did this to me, you did that, they did this. And I think over time, curiosity seeps in as you're able to give them some information or some data. And at least that creates some common ground. I don't mind if it's a yes or a no. If it's a no, though, and it's because people aren't informed, that's unfortunate. And that's what we're really struggling against. Maybe more than you asked for, Dennis, but that's my candid read right now.
Yeah, and I can't believe the current stock market situation is going to help your cause at all either.
Couldn't agree more. Ed, I don't.
Considered, by the way, all that commercial development in Mansfield, it's a wonderful word. It's a word I really love. Tariffs, 125% tariffs on anything bought in Mansfield and brought into Easton. That'll solve
There you
all.
go. There you go.
I seriously, for just a second, thank you for all the effort you've put into this. And you've sort of described my journey through this. I can't afford it. I kind of feel betrayed by the fact that the public safety thing was not pushed through, rationally argued for and rationally voted for, but didn't really take into consideration we're going to be in the pickle we're in now. But I think something that would be extremely helpful, and I want to look into it in more detail, is this idea of the compact. And
Yeah.
I think that would be very helpful. I don't think a lot of people know about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna just download it real quick. So if you see me look away, it's not because I'm not paying attention. I'm just gonna try to download it super quick, and then I'll just post it in the chat so that everybody here can have it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. It's just so that you know how we got there. We aren't super original, right? No shame to hijacking good quality stuff from other towns, but we looked at over, I think it was 7 other either memorandums of understanding or community compacts is what we decided to go with, and the entire 19-person committee voted for this and edited it and had opinions and put it together. So let me just download this and I'll put it in the chat. And honestly, it's really the town negotiating with itself. If you're going to do this, then there's some commitments and there's some teeth that have to go with it. And it was beyond our charge, but we just felt like it was a good idea. I did, and thankfully the committee agreed with it. Let me see if I can put it right in the chat. Can I put it in the chat?
I don't see it there.
Yeah, it's not going in for some reason.
Can you just email it to us?
That's what I was just going to do. Yep, I'll definitely email it to you all. Ed, I don't know. So if anybody has opportunities to talk to groups of people, just so that you guys know, we have had Coffee with Pace 3 weeks in March. We had 2 library sessions. We had a Zoom-based and an in-person Q&A session in March. We had multiple sessions at Frothingham Hall with seniors and at the Chris went someplace else too, Chris Cohn. So, there's just been an awful lot of outreach. So if you have other meetings, we're trying to get with the Lions for the end of April as well, just to give them a presentation. Ed, if you're doing any history tours and want to do a combo history pace tour in town, I think that would be a hot seller.
Definitely will mention it to people. We have a tour coming up on the 22nd, but it's limited in numbers.
See, so all I can tell you, Ed, is that every time Pace has had an open house, it went from 70 to 100 to 200 people. I think your walking group could be up to 300 to 400 people if you just tag on to Pace. That's all I'm saying.
I'm doing something on the 26th at Unity Church. Maybe we can squeeze it in there.
You let us know. We're happy to do it. The goal is to try to continue to galvanize positions and help people understand the information. And then that way, hopefully an informed voting base can vote with a good amount of knowledge on May 19th. Phil, what's your email address? I think I have it.
It should be Vescio, VESCIO 315 @gmail.com.
Sweet. So either you are the 315th P Visio, or that's your birthday, Phil. Is any of that true?
Nope. Again, I'm from Syracuse, New York, and the area code out there is 315.
Oh, you froze. What was that, Phil? None of it. All right. Whoever can figure it out in the years to come with Phil and the team gets to win the prize.
It's the area code for where he comes from.
Oh, is that what it is? Sorry.
Yeah.
I froze for a little bit. Gotcha. It's not New York, is it? Should we just know that now about it? Is. See?
It is.
All right. Yankees fan, Phil?
I am.
Okay.
I am, Tom.
All right. Well, we'll have to do something on the season series. Whoever Red Sox or Yankees wins the regular season series, we'll have to do some presentation maybe for the CPC committee.
Sounds like a good fun torture. I would appreciate that.
Right, wearing the other team's uniform. So one of my really
that's
best
too
friends
late.
is a Yankees fan, and we've done that in the past. Of made him wear some Red Sox gear. It was fun.
I'd like that. I like that.
Right. That's it, Dennis. Appreciate the question. Can I help anybody else with questions or thoughts or observations?
Before we break, could I give you some good news on 3 of our projects?
Please do. Yeah, that would be great.
Well, number one, the community garden people of the grant you guys provided for us. We're down to spending the last $1,500. The compost bin was put in by the DPW. They did a fantastic job. Very appreciated there. And we had another work party with 12 people up there. You've really stirred something up, and people are working together, and it's a real community garden up there. So that's great. Number 2, we just put up fencing at construction fencing at Swift's Park, and that's going to be underway. They have a steam shovel and a front end loader down there already. So that's underway. And my favorite one is years and years and years ago, we went out in the swamps of Wheaton Farm with Diane Burritos during Triple E's things, and she said, "You should buy this land. It will be wonderful bear habitat." And we just got word from our former chair, Mr. Lee, that he had a bear in his backyard, which backs up to that property. So
Nice.
we did a good thing.
That's true. I didn't see it, but there was definite evidence all over my yard. So
Did he get anything, Jim, like a bird feeder or anything?
he absolutely flattened my bird feeder. Yeah, it's a metal pole, 90 degree, right on the ground. Yeah,
Wow.
so just bent it right off.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Ed, I appreciate that. Did see the work at Quanticut. It makes me also super excited. I am jazzed about the park, but it also means to me that those stoplights might be active at some point in the near future.
If we can
Because
get
getting out of
grid
Quanticut-
out there to finalize the last details,
Yeah.
we're pushing hard.
Fantastic. I will say that is one of the spots where I greatly appreciate my community and neighbors, because anybody that knows that intersection deliberately slows down to let as many people get out into traffic or cut in as possible, because it could be another week and a half before you have another chance to do it.
I
All
do
right,
have
team.
one quick update on Wheaton Farm.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
The structural stabilization work is finished. They've done the footings, the new posts, sister joists, put in the plate steel to anchor it all. They've relocated the 2 personnel doors to the respective sides of the building to make way for the sliding doors to be operable at some point in the future. So that's the new wood shingles that people have seen patching the sides.
Nice.
And they got it all done just under budget and just within the contract window so that they won't be disturbing the bats. The barn, of course, still needs a fair amount of work, the roof, various other issues. So we are, hopeful for a future funding round. But yeah, so the structural work is done, and the contractors, Verica Construction, have done really great work.
Awesome. That's great news. I don't have anything else. Certainly nothing reasonably unanticipated comes to mind. I will say it's really great to see you all. I know it's been a little bit, but miss you all and hope you've all been well. They tell me spring's coming. It was 26 degrees the other morning, so that was not cool. But
So
I
you
have.
were hopeful, right, Tom? 26.
I'm hopeful.
Hopeful.
Well, I'm in. Once I spread the first fertilizer of the year and get the lime out, I don't care if it snows 6 feet. Spring has started for me. So I'm already in. Projects are getting done outside. So Ed, I'm with you on the fencing. I might reach out to you, Ed, separately. So I have 4-foot high steel kind of like livestock fencing that I bought just to fence in a little bit of area in my backyard. And I might have some extra stuff. So if I do, I'll keep you guys in mind, and
Yeah, we
might be a
appreciate
donation.
that. That's a big thing for beans and peas and tomatoes and stuff. So got a few pieces down there, but we can always use more.
Cool. Awesome. Unless anybody else have anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That's Lee and Hands, and going around in reverse order, Meredith. I can just picture mayhem going on in her car. 2 kids getting out.
Sorry, I couldn't hit mute. Sorry about that.
Awesome. Phil?
Aye. Glad to be
Awesome.
here.
Great to
Thank
have
you all.
Yeah, great to have you, Phil. Ed?
Hi.
Dennis?
Aye.
Amanda?
Hi.
Jim? Brown bear Lee? Is it a brown bear or a black bear, Jim? Just should we know?
I can't tell from the scat.
Okay, fair. All right. I and Tom Broussarders and I. Again, really nice to see you all. I hope you're doing well. And if you have questions as we approach town meeting, don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm happy to try to assist and help in any way I can. Have a great night, folks.
Night,
Thank you all.
everybody.
Take care.
But